Welcome to the Rugby League Outsiders set of 6. This is our weekly news show where we share the good, the great and the newsworthy of Rugby League outside the heartlands. My name's Craig.
And my name's Karl, and on this week's show we'll be talking about the Championship Grand Final. We'll have an international roundup and obviously IMG.
Okay, we're going to launch into it with what has been probably one of the most exciting games of rugby I've seen this year, and that was the Wakefield Toulouse Championship final there at the weekend.
Was it one of the most exciting games you've seen this year? Really? It was a good game. I enjoyed watching it. Wakefield showed their class. They showed that they really are a Super League side in waiting. I don't think you could say it was one of the best games of the year because I thought it was quite one-sided. I think Toulouse didn't really turn up. They don't play as well away as they do at home, and they beat Wakey at home earlier in the year. But yeah, it was a good game, good coverage, good crowd. Wakefield seem to be going in the right direction, don't they?
Well, I think what I meant by exciting, what I should have said was it was enjoyable.
Yeah, it was
a really enjoyable game.
Yeah.
There's like loads of little stories around the pitch. Max Jowett chasing that record. Jermaine McGilvray in his final game. Luke Gale, I believe, as well.
It was his final game.
His final game as well. And then, I don't want to burst your bubble or anything like that, but even Jermaine McGilvray kicking a conversion at the end, it was just full of little stories, and it was just brilliant to see. And Wakefield looking like a Super League outfit.
Yeah, 100% look like so. The biggest thing for me was just the crowd. When you pack a stadium like that, I don't know how many was there. It was 7,000, 8,000, something like that. It was pretty much full, wasn't it? Or it wasn't far from being full. And just when you get a full stadium like that, it gives the game a different atmosphere. And it felt like you was watching a Super League team, I thought. And I've already said that, but yeah, very much felt like they're a Super League club in waiting. Obviously, the result on the pitch didn't matter, although a few extra IMG points there. But yeah, it's all down to the grading, isn't it, which we're waiting for this week.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the grading a little bit later on. Now, one of the things for me is obviously, in terms of like Sky coverage, they do have a bit of a monopoly on the coverage they have over Rugby League. Derek Bowman been very vocal about it in this past week.
Yeah.
And it was great to see the sportsman providing what was good coverage. I mean, it wasn't at like Sky TV level, but it was good, and when I looked, it was like 20,000 people watching that on YouTube.
Well, that's what you can do with a decent YouTube channel. I think, is that the future of sports coverage? YouTube? I don't know. You love your YouTube, so I'll hand that one over to you. Back to you.
Well, I mean, the trend across all forms of media is that traditional style of media, TV
is dying.
Look at your news. More people are jumping on YouTube than they are on regular TV and Netflix. It's just going nuts. So perhaps that's where it is. And I think there was a story about the grand final. We're breaking away from the story of Wakefield and Toulouse here,
but we'll get back to it.
There was a remarks about the grand final saying that viewership was down, and it was as if Rugby League was at fault. And my take was, no, I don't think Rugby League at fault. I think it's the production companies that's at fault. I think the coverage this year has been shocking on BBC and at times Sky TV. So, I don't think it's necessarily a sport problem. I think that's not the cause. I think the cause is the actual traditional media is I think we're getting right on a little rant here, aren't we? So anyway,
you've just reminded You've just reminded me actually to cancel my TV license this week.
Exactly. Without your Rugby League, you probably wouldn't have freaking Sky TV because it's dog crap. So anyway, yeah, that's that. So back to Wakefield Toulouse.
Right, we've got to talk about Max Jowett. 500 points in a single season. World record, I believe. Jones from Leeds, who currently had the record 1956, 1957. Obviously, you knew that, Craig.
Obviously.
Being a stato. 496 points was the current record that he had to break. He's now smashed it with 500 points. And I'll go through his stats. So he made 35 appearances this year. He scored 26 tries and 198 goals. Where's this guy been hiding?
Yeah, I know, it's absolutely incredible. And I bet at the start of the season, he had no idea that he was going to go on this prolific point-scoring run. So, and I can't see this being beaten for a long time.
No, I had a look at some of the past players who'd sort of
got close.
Like Andy Farrell, I think he was up in third. Henry Paul had a great season. Pat Richards, we all remember, I think he was like 7th on the list or something. Yeah, so it's in really great list of names. It sort of in that top 10 now. He's been working for years, so it's just good sort of story, you know, the backing player that's been with them for so many years, and he's, you know, they're reaping the rewards, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think for Wakefield, you know, this is very, very positive, isn't it? Like these are all foundations that the team, the club can get behind and build on,
yeah.
You know, heading into next year. We don't know yet, but it's likely they're going to get promoted to the Super League. So
how much has Wakefield changed? I know that you can't, the whole thing doesn't evolve around, but as soon as they went and built that new stand,
yeah.
And I know they've got like new investment in the club, but as soon as they built that new stand, everyone started looking at Wakefield in a different way. I mean, I did. I mean, you can remember a few years back, I had a few laughs at Wake. You didn't have, you know, they've got great looking facility now. And as soon as they built that new stadium, there seemed to be a new air of positivity around the club. And before you know it, fans are backing it. They're backing the stadium. The revenue's going up, and yeah, the club's just going in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't think just like building a new stadium is all you have to do. I think they've done a lot of obvious hard work all throughout the club, but it's definitely a big part of people like believing in you. You know, if you turn up and you've got like a dog shit stadium and it's just a mess and it's falling down, people are like, oh, we're off to wherever. I don't want to. You would probably slag a team off, but I won't. Right? Okay. But if you get there and it's all brand new and you can see them making effort, then they're all signs for the positive. And again, you can then attract more talent because players want to play there, and you know,
sponsors,
investors. So definite change.
Which is why, again, I'll sort of kind of back up a little bit about with what IMG are doing. So Stadia is one of the pillars of the IMG grading, LED boards. I know people take piss out of all this sort of stuff. LED boards, scoreboards, media terraces, all these things they want as minimum standards, don't they? And I still back it. I think it's the right thing that they've done.
Anything further to add on that?
No, just touch on Jermaine McGilvery's conversion at the end. It was a cracker, wasn't it? Somebody, was it Luke Gale who described it as Frano Botica-esque? He literally just plonked it on the kicking tee, didn't he? He was like 2 steps back. I'll just have a bit of a whack at this, and oofed it
and nailed it,
curled round. Yeah, it was absolutely. Yeah, it was at the moment of the match. Really, I really.
Well, this is what I meant by like enjoyable. Like it was an enjoyable game to watch because of all these little stories, you know. And we love the French getting a bit of a battering as well. So an amazing story to finish on, and in a way, an amazing way for him to finish his career.
Yeah, I was watching it on the TV, and as he kicked that goal, I was like. My missus was next to me. I was like going, yes! I'm not a Wakefield fan. Why am I shouting for that? But anyway, yeah, it was great to see him finish off his career, and what a great career he has had. It was a little bit sad what happened to him at Huddersfield. I think they did the dirty on him a little bit at the end of his career. They kind of recognise him as they should. He's helped Wakefield back in the Super League. Maybe.
All right, so before we move on, just a little announcement. We was fortunate enough to be winners of a couple of awards presented by Rugby League History, a YouTube channel, and he's got a Facebook page and Instagram, Twitter and all that. Yeah. So he's everywhere. And every year he runs Rugby League Podcast Awards, and we were fortunate enough and very gracious in receiving the Rugby League Podcast of the Year award, which is mad because last year we won the Newcomers Award. So to get that this year is mad. What's your thoughts, Karl?
Yeah, it's a bit crazy, really. We was up against, there was like loads of really well-established Aussie podcasts that have been around, and obviously they've got a bigger viewership than we have. But yeah, to be recognised is great. We don't get nothing for it, no plaque going on the wall or anything like that, but...
I'll make you a plaque, mate. I'll draw you a little picture. Listen, on the back of that, we ain't done yet. You know, we've got lots of plans heading into next season and things that we want to do. This week, we're going to launch our membership packages using the Patreon platform, where you can help support the channel. If you enjoy any part of this, then first thing you can do completely for free is hit the subscribe button. That really helps and lets us know that we're on the right track. And then secondly, if you want to play more of a part and to get exclusive content and some other benefits, then consider joining our membership later this week. We talk a lot about rugby league and the traditional teams that have been around for 150 years. What we do need, though, is new new teams stepping into professional ranks. And one of those teams that has done that this year is the Ghoul Vikings.
Together we conquer is their motto, up the Vikings. So yeah, Ghoul Vikings are the team that were selected to enter League One this year, which will take the League One to 11 teams, I believe, because they've dropped 2 down, haven't they, this year? So the leagues are starting to balance out again. So yeah, so Ghoul Vikings, I know we were sort of championing Bedford and Anglian Vipers, who are 2 clubs outside the Heartlands. But you got to say, if you look at Ghoul Vikings and what they've done so far, everything's going in the right direction. So just a couple of things. I looked on their website earlier. The website's better than some of the Super League teams and certainly better than some Championship and League One sides. The branding's...
Bradford. No offence, Karl.
We're working on that. The branding's crisp, clear, and not are they only... They're signing some big-name players, but they're also mixing it with some local talent as well. So that's what you want to see, really, from a new professional club. So I've got a couple of the new signings that they made. I'm just going to go through them. So head coach Scott Taylor, which you all know, ex-Hull FC man.
And Leeds.
Yeah, and Leeds. So he's the head coach, and Kevin Marshall, who was the amateur coach at the club, he's stepping in to be the assistant coach. So straight away, really good link between the professional and the amateur game. They've then announced the signing of Tom Halliday from Doncaster, who scored 59 tries in 81 appearances. Real great player. And then you've got Ben Hodder, who again is a local player who's stepping up into the professional ranks. So
exciting.
Yeah, it's really good to see. And then the biggest name, well, there's a couple of big name signings, but Jamie Shaw, this one was one that really came out and kicked me. I was like, wow, they really mean business. 100 tries he scored for Hull. Yeah, what do you remember about Jamie Shaw? He's just ever present, wasn't he?
Yeah, just rapid, and one of those players that was small in stature but like huge in his ability, and that's the thing I remember. He can make, he can score points from pretty much anywhere on the pitch. He just seems to be right place, right time. Never takes a backward step. So the idea of him playing in League One is, I mean, he could well walk away with League One Player of the Season.
Yeah, I mean, he's been out of the game for a bit, but he's coming back, and surely he's going to produce. I think he's a friend of Scott Taylor, so that makes sense, doesn't it? So a couple of others then. You've got Josh Guzdeck from Doncaster, Thomas Minns from former Wakefield player, wasn't he? Alex Holdstock, another guy they've had from Donny, and Brett Ferris from Doncaster, another England international. He's still doing the business. I watched him in the League One final last year. I've watched him a couple of times actually in the last sort of 12 to 18 months. He's still a unit, mate, solid, and he can still do a job there. So, yeah, I think that's a great signing. And then probably the most exciting one, the lad we've probably not heard much about, Lennon Bursell. He's the current Hull FC Academy captain. So he switched over to go play for Ghoul Vikings. Interesting there. You got the Hull FC Academy captain, so he's clearly one of the best players in Hull FC's academy. Hull FC have lost him. And that tells you a lot about where Hull FC are at the minute, I think.
Yeah, it's not like a dual reg agreement
no, full signing, mate, for Ghoul Vikings.
Crazy. Right, okay. I mean, the thing for me is, like, Ghoul are just so perfectly placed, aren't they, to be washing up either retiring or players from Hull FC, Hull KR that are coming to the end of their season. They're just right geographically in the right place, and obviously they've got links into those pro clubs already. So, and making the most of those links. I'm really excited to see how Ghoul get on this year. I think a lot of this stuff must have been teed up before they got the news that were included in League One, because it just happened so quick, hasn't it?
Well, I heard, I don't know if this is true, but I heard they submitted like a document to the RFL that was somewhat like 100 and odd pages long. So they're not messing about. They clearly mean business. I don't know who's bankrolling it or anything like that. I know season tickets are currently on sale at the minute. They've already got the club shop sorted out. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting down there. And we have reached out to them as well for a comment on next week's show.
So from deepest, darkest Ghoul, we're going to head international now, and loads of Pacific Island results and other results.
Yeah, I just thought I'd go through the results of all the fixtures from the following week, and we got to start with Jamaica v Wales. Did you watch that one?
Yeah, I did. It was absolute downpour, wasn't it? Like, absolutely just bouncing down, but still some big tackles. Like, there's some ferocious tackles from both sides. But I've got to say, Gil Dudson was just like knocking people around for fun. And despite the fact that the weather was bad, It was like torrential rain. Still a lot of skill on shore. And, you know, none of the teams, neither of the teams was scared to move that ball around, considering that they had a mix of Super League, Championship, League One players mixed in with a couple of community players as well. And I thought they all did very well in during that game.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, I enjoyed watching Jamaica play, actually. It was a little bit off-the-cuff rugby, and they sort of really troubled Wales, didn't they, in times during that game?
Well, they were ahead at half-time, weren't they?
Yeah, I think, Jamaica just, they didn't quite have the strength in depth that Wales had, and, you know, I think John Keir knows how to grind a win out, and that was pretty much a game where they ground a win out. Yeah, and it's just worth mentioning Josh Hudson-Lett, Bedford Tigers community player. He's got an absolute cracker of a try in that second half. It was a kick went over. He was the quickest to the ball, jumped up, grabbed it, straight to sprint to the line. Great try. Great to see just a Midlands lad, you know, scoring in an international fixture like that. Yeah,
so, you know, a lot of the Jamaican players, you know, they weren't necessarily born, they were Jamaican heritage, but they weren't born in Jamaica. They're, you know, so a lot of them born along the M62 corridor and what have you. But this guy's Midlands born and bred. So to score a game in an international for Jamaica is brilliant. You know, it's exactly what this channel's all about. It's growing the game, you know, from those fringes and raising the profile of Rugby League outside that heartlands.
It's great to see Jamaica played another fixture this week, and I didn't recognise any of the players from this first game, so I think they maybe have picked players from the Americas side. So they played Canada this week, but they did come out on the wrong end of the result. I think they lost quite heavily in that one. Anyway, other games that took place this week: Fiji versus PNG. That was pretty much dominated, I thought, by the players for PNG that are playing in the Super League. You know, Fiji beat PNG last year, and you had Nenny McDonald, Lachlan Lamb. He controlled the game from the middle. Reece Martin had a cracking game. So they came out 22 points to 10 against Fiji. And I think a lot of people expected a stronger showing from Fiji. But PNG now are really sort of establishing themselves as one of the rugby leagues. They're not quite in that sort of grade A clubs, but they're not far off, are they? And interesting, PNG, it's looking like they could have a side in the NRL by 2026. So it's great to see that rugby league in Papua New Guinea is thriving. Other results: Australia 18, Tonga 0. Would you have called that before? There was a lot of talk that there could have been an upset on the table with that one.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk because there was a little bit of unrest, I think, in the Australia setup. You know, a couple one of the players like, I'm playing for Australia this year, and you know what I mean. Yeah. It's just like those little rumours, and it was like they weren't really committed to this Pacific series, and you know, Tonga can, you know, they can cause an upset. Like, they can really be a banana skin for most teams. Really strong team, but I did kind of think it would go this way.
Yeah, they had to handle the Tonga pack. The Tonga pack was way bigger than Australia's pack, but I think once Australia neutralised that, a couple of the players had really big games. Tommy Dearden on debut for Australia, he
tore it up.
Yeah, he tore it up, and
incredible solo effort try there.
And Tom Trebojevic, who we've seen play for Australia before, he was instrumental all game. I think he was the main danger man. Took an interception early on to score a try, and then everything Australia did out wide, he seemed to be involved. So he had a great game. I'll move on to the other results in the women's game. In the women's, then we had Jillaroos smash through Papua New Guinea, 84 points to 0. Tonga 16 and Samoa 30 is a roundup of international rugby.
Whilst we're talking about international rugby, stay with us all the way to the end, because we're going to present our starting lineup for England against Samoa next week.
What could go wrong?
So, little side note now, we just want to bring out like the comment of the week, and all you rugby league fans out there, you need to pay attention to this. So we had a comment last week's episode, and what I want to encourage people to do, without bullying, without getting nasty and bloody, you know, I'd like to see some replies to this comment. We've put our reply, and but I'd like to see some reply. And what we've got is our limited edition Rugby League Outsiders rebounder balls, of which you can maybe see a picture on the screen right now.
Can't buy anywhere.
You can't buy them anywhere because
we will do eventually.
The funniest comment, right, we'll get a Rugby League Outsiders rebound the ball, okay, worth 20, 25 quid or whatever they are.
Right, shall I read it out?
Yeah, go on in, Karl. What's this comment?
So this comment was from
Mario,
and he put, ooh, this is not rugby. Call it something else. You can't change the rules and play of the game and still call it rugby. It's sickening.
You know, obviously a rugby union fan there just having a go at rugby league, and it just like it really got me when he was like, "Ew," like it was some kind of dirty, unclean sport. You know what I mean? Anyway, my reply was, "Come on, mate, green really doesn't suit you because it just reeks of jealousy." This lad, and I said, "I wish we could completely detach." I said, "I wish we were completely detached from rugby union." Bores the tits off me. So don't get ahead of yourself. That was my reply, but I'm really interested to what other people's replies are on that. You know, there's no need to get. It's just a bit of fun, but there's no need to get nasty or like that. But it just, you know, the fact that's like one of those comments where
yeah, but at least we're landing in his algorithm, mate.
Yeah, well, there is that. Yeah,
whether he wants to see rugby league or not, we're landing in his social bubble somehow. So maybe we got under his skin.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the comment of the week, and I'm really interested to what you've got to say to this here, Mario. We're going to move on then. Important news coming out this week in that the IMG gradings are released. So as we stand right now, each club will know their score of their IMG gradings.
Today at 10:30, yes, so it's happened, yeah.
Yeah, so then, I don't know when you'll watch this, but tomorrow they'll then receive...
Tuesday, yeah.
So, yeah, they'll then receive all the other clubs' scores, and then the official release of the results are on Wednesday at 10:30.
Yeah, but we don't need to wait till Wednesday, because by Tuesday at 10 o'clock, Derek Beaumont's going to be on Twitter, and it's going to be going off.
He'll have worked it out.
Yeah, so, they're going to get everybody else's scores, and there'll be an embargo on it, but it'll come out. 100% it'll come out.
Okay, so just a little bit on that then. So first of all, the 5 criteria, some of you may not know this. So the 5 criteria that IMG are going to do their ratings on, or are going to update their ratings on. First of all, fandom, on-field performance, finance, stadium, and then community. So they're the main sort of aspects that they're going to look at. Now, when you look at Super League and how it's unfolded, there are some clubs that we know are going to be pretty safe. I'm talking Wigan, Saints, Warrington, Hull KR, Catalans, more than likely will, guaranteed to retain their Grade A status. News coming out of Leigh and Wakefield is that they believe that they're going to get an A. And I dare say Leigh are probably on track for that. We don't know their financial situation. What are you smirking at, Karl?
It's Derek again, isn't it? Yeah, he's already commented, we're a Grade A club. And if that's all it takes, everybody should be just getting in the press going, yeah, we're a Grade A club.
No, but if you look at their performance on field, what they've done, the way that they're bringing in their community and stuff, they've got to be very, very close to an A. Wakegate believe they are going to pick up an A as well. And so you've got to think that like Castleford
have come out saying that they believe they're a Grade A club now.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know. I think they're going to be high B.
Better than they were.
Yeah. So
hopefully they submit the data right this time.
That's to be seen. And you've got to say that the biggest loser this year is got to be Hull FC. Like with their on-field performance, some of the upset within their club. I know they're still getting massive crowds, but each of these, the fandom thing, there is a cap on it. There is only so many points you can get. So having a lot of fans turn up for your games doesn't offset your on-field performance.
I'll throw one out to you, but fandom and social media followings and stuff like that. Point out a club to me that you don't think's done very well on social media this year.
I don't. No one really springs to mind. But I can pick out a couple that I think have done really, really well.
Yeah, go on then.
I think London have done incredibly well. I thought what they did on social media throughout the whole season has been exceptional, really. Obviously, the big clubs, Wigan, Saints weren't exactly brilliant, were they? Warrington, I think they've done really well.
Yeah, Warrington's social media is solid. Hull KR are just riding a wave at the minute. So everything they're doing is just coming off for them. I think Hull FC's social media has been really poor this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I follow all the Super League clubs, and I don't think it's just their on-field performance that's letting them down. I think it'd be interesting when we see the numbers, but yeah, I'd say I don't think theirs has been great.
Okay, other than that, it's doubtful that anyone other than London are going to drop out of the Super League.
I was going to say to you, do you think we're basing all of this on what we hear in the media, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we're going, right, yeah, Wakey are clearly going up because that's what everybody's saying, and they've sorted the stadium out and things like that. But I'm just wondering if there's an absolute shock about to come. I've heard a little rumour.
Go on then.
Bradford could be up there.
Are you allowed to say that?
Yeah, shocker. I'm not saying where the sources came from, but I've heard that Bradford are doing very well. I know some people are going to jump down my neck for that, but I don't know. I'm just wondering if there's going to be a shock just come out of nowhere.
But in order for Bradford to go up, someone else got to come down, haven't they?
Well, we know we're pretty much certain London are going to drop out.
Yeah, because you can't go. They were ranked 24th last year. You just can't accrue enough points.
Yeah, they're going to see a huge increase, which we already know because they're in Super League at the minute. So, but yeah, they're not going to do enough to retain a Super League position next year. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see what happens when it all comes out in the wash this week. But it'd be interesting if there was a bit of a shocker in there that just people haven't predicted.
Obviously, this gets released 10:30 on the 23rd, which is Wednesday. We're going to do a reaction video almost as soon as we can. Probably drop that on Thursday morning, where we're going to go dive deep into the results, the gradings as they come out, and any upsets as called by Karl. And we're also going to do a deep dive into the Gradings Handbook, which is a document you can get on the RFL website. But I think some of you may not have seen that and may not quite understand where these gradings come from, and it's quite an interesting read. And it is just a playbook for clubs to look at and go, right, how can we increase our score, and to follow that along. So we're going to look at that plus the reaction on Thursday.
Yes.
Tackle number 5, and there's a little bit of verbal tennis been going on in Rugby League on both sides, and that is that of the World Club Challenge.
Yeah, so Chris Radlinski, he said, under whatever we can do, the World Club Challenge has got to happen. I was like, yes, I'm absolutely backing that. Penrith said, no chance, it's not happening. We're not travelling one side at World and then travelling to America for Vegas. So it was off and it was on. It was always off, wasn't it? But there was a little glimmer of hope it might have been on. And then Nathan Cleary was in the UK, obviously, because he was looking for a Super League club to play for.
Bradford.
He came up with an idea. It was him, wasn't it, that said it. He said, why don't we play it at Magic Weekend? And so it was maybe back on again. And
I'm not sure they're the actual words you used. Like, why don't we play it then?
Well, no.
And I'm surprised you didn't use like your best Aussie accent.
Oh, mate, you can't do it. Just, no. So it was floated about that maybe it could happen at Magic Weekend, but now you're saying there's more news out and it's not on again.
Yeah, so the Penrith CEO, I think, has just said, look, there's a commercial agreement where Penrith has been designated as the home club for the NRL Magic Round. So therefore, because of commercials and finances, it just can't happen then.
So why can't they just be the home club playing at the Magic Round against Wigan?
I don't know. Well, they were a bit aloof of who their opponent was going to be because they were sort of saying, they've got a pre-designated opponent. So Melbourne Storm, or whatever. The two teams that people want to see right now, but they're just obviously not keen on it, are they?
Well, they never have been. This is what's it's annoying, isn't it? The Aussies have never really taken the World Club Challenge as seriously as they should have done. And it's showing again it's just rugby league. This is just a typical rugby league story because this won't happen in the other sport. That other guy watches. That we don't mention. It just wouldn't happen, would it? The World Club Challenge would happen. It'd be on a big stage. It'd be massive. And I know Vegas is happening, but someone's got to sort this out. Are the Aussies running scared?
I don't know if they're running scared. But I tell you what,
they haven't won it for years. It's been what?
Well, 2 years, mate. 2 years.
Well, it'll be 3, won't it, next year? Because they ain't going to fucking play it.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, when they did win, we were desperate to get it. To win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're desperate to get back to the halcyon days, like Bradford going down under and winning and all that. But and then when we did win, and Saints beat them, we wanted to retain it
in the backyard. Yeah.
Now it's like we want to retain it. Now we want to hold it. And especially because Wigan are such a dominant force. Like we really,
I genuinely back that Wigan team. I know, look, Penrith are class, aren't they? But I want to see it happen. I back that Wigan team. Interesting as well, Nathan Cleary, that he wouldn't get in that Wigan side, would he? According to Chris Radlinski.
Yeah.
He said on another podcast this week, rival podcast, that I think it was a bit tongue in cheek, but the Aussie press have run with it a million miles an hour. Basically said, I'm not sure where Nathan Cleary would fit in our Wigan side with Bevan French and Harry Smith. So, yeah, thoughts.
What, whether he'd fit in the...
Yeah.
Whether he'd make the team? Yeah, you'd make a hole in any team for Nathan Cleary, wouldn't you? But, you've got to look at it. It's like if you've got a team where the culture's right, the playing style's right, every player is complement, could you drop such an influential player in and expect him to, just crack on? I mean, you'd be a brave coach, regardless of who walks through the door.
Yeah, but I think if I had Nathan Cleary available to me, it'd probably be the first name on the team sheet, to be honest with you.
Right.
Anyway, let's move on.
Speaking of other podcasts, 4020, they kind of floated an idea which on Twitter, which I thought was quite interesting, and that was like, what they actually said was, would Wigan, Australia finish 0-0? Right, and I thought that's an interesting little talking point. That I don't think it'll finish 0-0, but who would win?
You've got to. Well, I'm just backing British teams at the minute. I'm just going to rile a few people up. I think we're going to win. Yeah, I think. Try scoring opportunity. The thing with national sides, they don't play together all year, do they?
No.
So. You could make you can make a strong argument that Wigan and give them a game. I'm going to get so much abuse for this. I can make a strong argument that Wigan have beat Australia.
Yeah.
Like I say, Australia don't play together all year.
Home or away?
Only at home, they'd lose away. Yeah, at home, I'm backing Wigan.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Anyway, so this is all just fancy at the minute. So let's crack on.
An Australia side that went on tour together and played 6 or 7 games and then some internationals, which
not a chance.
Not a chance. But an Australia team that only plays 1 or 2 games a year, it takes them. It always takes them a while to get into the stride.
Right. What about this then? Would an England lineup beat Penrith Panthers?
No. No.
Is that it?
No.
So you're very sort of absolute on that. You know what I mean? It's like very. Nah,
mate, I don't even know if England are going to beat Samoa yet. So.
Okay, right. Well, that's actually our little seamless link to our Williams Weekly this week. And what I've done is I've picked out what I expect, or what I would like to see is like the starting lineup for England. I'm going to float that in front of Karl, and he's going to sort of bounce back. Or he's going to like hit back what he agrees with, a few little talking points that everybody needs to discuss for this international side. Are you up for it, Karl?
Yeah, I hope Chris Hill's the first person on team sheet, mate.
Well, no. One of the things that annoyed me. So Sean Wayne, if you really believe what's written in the press, right? He said, a few people are questioning the inclusion of Chris Hill in the squad, saying, he's 36-year-old now. Is he kind of getting towards the end of it? And he said, first of all, I'm picking everyone based on their performance this year. So I was like, well, why have you included Chris Hill then? Because Huddersfield hasn't performed.
No, they haven't performed
well
at all.
And then he said, no. But what he did last year when he played with an injury around the squad I'm a big fan of. And I'm like, well, that's not this year. So is it based on what they did this year, or have you already got a preconceived idea of who needs to be in there? Anyway, so let's get into it.
My bigger question for that is: are you planning it for a team for World Cup here or not? Or are you just planning for a fixture this year?
That's a very good question, because you'd like to think, well, you wouldn't expect someone at 36-year-old to be included in the World
next
Cup.
World Cup side. No, so I think it's the wrong move anyway. Well, let's go on to your England team and see where we're at.
Okay, so at number 1, by the way, what is your starting lineup? You can stick it in the comments down below, and or if you completely agree with this one, then
you're opening yourself
brilliant.
Up here, mate, big time.
I know. Be kind. Right, number 1, Jack Wellesby. Wingers, Liam Marshall, Dom Young. Obviously, that excludes Matty Ashton. Do you want to do this position by position?
No, we'll
I'll get through the whole.
I'll let you go through your squad, and then
in centres, I've got Harry Newman in the absence of Jake Wardle.
Wardle. Yeah. Nobody understands that joke, so we've never said it. Anyway,
I've said it a couple of times.
Have you?
Yeah. So I've got Harry Newman in there. I don't think he's done particularly well at Leeds. You know, I think he's been one of Leeds' outstanding performers. I don't think he's the first choice England centre right now. So, but in the absence of everybody else, Harry Newman, and he could prove me wrong. He's got the skill. He could prove me wrong. Herbie Farnworth, exceptional player. So they're the two centres. I've got George Williams, Mikey Lewis. You know, you cannot. Michael Lewis, current man of steel, but also when you look at some of the additional stats that he's accrued this year, he's got to be included, obviously, with Harry Smith stepping aside. Props, Tom Burgess and Matty Lees. Darryl Clark at number 9. Kai Pierce-Paul and Morgan Smithies as second row. And then Victor Radley as loose forward. And then on the bench, I've got Danny Walker, Junior Nsemba and Morgan Knowles with 18th man because of his versatility, Ben Curry. So that's the side I've gone for, right? Some noticeable admissions. What's your take on it, Karl?
Yeah, you've got no John Bateman in there, have you?
No, I haven't got John Bateman
who's going to be the first one on bloody Sean Wayne's team sheet. But I agree with you.
But my point of view is, one, he just seems to have a lot of baggage at the minute. Like stuff going on, you know, with the Tigers back in Oz and that kind of thing. So I don't really know about that. 2, all right, he's coming in and he's done a good job for Warrington, but not ahead of some of the other players out there right now in the second row. I could have included him instead of Harry Newman, but he's not like a specialised centre. He can play centre. He has played centre, hasn't he? But I don't think it's his best position. So therefore, that's why I've kind of not included him.
Do you know what? I'm looking at it. It's a pretty solid team. There ain't much I'd change. I know you questioned Harry Newman. There isn't many centres left that you could drop in from that squad. And what I would say about this, Sean Wayne seemed to get the best out of him last year in the Test series. He was probably the best rugby he played last year. He had a few issues, didn't he, like off field and a bit of sulking going on and all the rest of it. But once he put that England shirt on last year, played his best rugby. So I'd stick with that. The other one's Liam Marshall or Matty Ashton. Now, I questioned that straight away. I thought Matty Ashton's probably a bit more of a strike force player. But then when I looked at the stats, Liam Marshall, 27 tries this year. Matty Ashton, 21. So you got to go with form, haven't you? So I agree with you there, actually, as well.
But that's not his only form, is it? There's something else that he's up there.
Top meter maker.
Yeah,
he made
third in the meters.
3,695 metres he made this year. Top meter maker for a winger is awesome. So no, I'd stay with that. I think Dom Young, right? I mean, the big one is the halfback pairing, isn't it, of George Williams and Mikey Lewis. This is a massive dilemma for Sean Wayne. I think George Williams is always going to start an easy captain. I think he'll play Harry Smith. And I think he'll slot.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about your choice, Karl.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that in a minute.
You're talking about Sean Wayne.
I'm going to say I think he's going to start Mikey Lewis on the bench and bring him on. But I agree with you. I think Mikey Lewis should start. I think he's one of England's biggest attacking threats, one of the top try scorers this year, 19 tries, third top try scorer in Super League. To have that and a pretty balanced player now playing against side George Williams, I agree with you. Right, Darryl Clark, no, I'd put Danny Walker in. So I'd change that up.
Why? Based on what?
I think he's lost a bit of pace. I think Danny Walker is an edge or two quicker. I think England have got to come out of the blocks quickly in this game, so that's why I'd put him in there. Other than that, mate, I think much I'd change.
What about the bench?
So you got Nsemba I'd keep on the bench. Yeah, Morgan Knowles on the bench.
Cogs are turning.
You've only got 3 subs there, so I'd have Ethan Havard on, give you a bit more. So let's see. Cue the abuse in the comments.
Do you know something I'm really looking forward to? Right, I've got two things I want to carry on with. So the first one is, this is a quick point, but I'm really looking forward to it. The moment that Junior Nsemba comes on the pitch for England, I think the crowd will erupt because he's a massive crowd favourite, and this is where I get a little bit conflicted because I think, no denying, he's an absolute monster and he's performing on the pitch and he's had an amazing season, right? But he's still very young. But he's a massive crowd favourite. That's why I put him on the bench. I think some people would have him on the pitch as part of the starting lineup, but I don't really see that. But I am looking forward to that moment he steps on the pitch, because I think the crowd will go nuts, because I think everyone backs him.
And I think if Wayne plays it careful and the Samoan forwards start to tire and he brings him on at the right point, I think it could be a bit of a game changer, I'm hoping anyway. But yeah, it's interesting and exciting is this test match. But I'm a little bit worried for England.
So here's my second talking point is in regards to Mikey Lewis or Harry Smith or Jerome Luai.
Yeah.
Who do you want? Do you want someone who has the consistency of Harry Smith, almost metronomic, like clockwork? You know what he's going to do. His performance is usually bang on. Very rarely. I mean, we had the people's elbow earlier in the season.
People's elbow.
But, very rarely does he kind of get stuff wrong. Kicking was exceptional in the England Man of the Series last year.
It was great in the grand final as well. Yeah, mate.
Do you want that, or do you want the spark, the unpredictability, the passion from Mikey Lewis?
I want to be entertained, mate.
Are you not entertained?
I want to be entertained, and I just think we throw the kitchen sink at them in attacking play.
Yeah, but being entertained throughout the whole game. I mean, we're up on the scoreboard, then that's where you want to be in it.
George Williams is going to give you a class kicking game, and he'll attack the line, right?
I think George Williams will give you an amazing short kicking game. I do worry about.
Harry Smith has a longer kicking game. It's a better longer kicking game. Possibly, yeah. But I'm going with who's going to get me points on the board, mate. And I've got Mikey Lewis, who's one of the top try scorers in Super League. I'm not leaving him on the bench. I'm putting him in. I know that it's controversial, but like I say, I want to be entertained. I want to see England play an entertaining brand of rugby, not robotic. I want to see some great players here. Like,
I've got another question for you. Who's kicking your conversions?
George Williams.
No.
Who's kicking yours?
Would it ever be Michael Lewis or Harry Smith? Well, Harry Smith's he's a bit of a...
We just benched Harry Smith.
Yeah, I know, but if he is...
Are you just bringing him back on for kicks like in NFL, in special teams?
I'm saying if he does play, I'd have him kicking, but he's got a terrible record for conversions. I don't think he did particularly well. Michael Lewis can kick a conversion, can't he? But I can't see anyone else really that's going to dink him over.
It's one of your halves, yeah.
So, what do you think of that? On the whole, we're pretty similar.
Yeah,
there's just a couple of things. But there's some noticeable players missing there, though, isn't there? The likes of
Chris Hill's not in.
Chris
Ashton's missing out. John Bateman, you've got missing out.
Mike McMeekan.
Ben Curry missing out. Harry Smith missing out. We'll be miles off with this, you know.
Why?
I'll bet you. When we come back on next week, we'll have a look at this England team. So the England team that gets picked will be miles off.
Yeah, but it's win-win, isn't it, for us? Because if he plays this side and we win, brilliant. Right? If they lose, then we can blame someone else. You know what I mean? He should have listened to us. and if he plays a different side, we can say, well, you should have played the side we said. So we're win-win.
Right, fair enough.
Okay, we're going to wrap that up for this week. Any final news, Karl?
No. Oh, yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. I'm looking forward to seeing the winners for the World Cup, to see who comes out on top. Yeah, France, Wales, Ukraine, Serbia. I'm looking forward to see who comes out on top of that. So we'll talk about that next week.
Okay, so until the next video, take care.